Happy birthday, Superman. You know, when I'm 80 years old, I hope I look that good. Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the Gamma Sector, where we take comics, movies, video games, and we expose them to the world, find out how they work. Today, we're talking about Action Comics 1000. I'm excited, let's just get to it. Action Comics 1000 is a collection of short stories from various artists and writers across DC Comics. Each of these stories stand on their own 2 feet, and they're all noteworthy, and at the website I covered every story individually, so link in the description below, make sure you go check that out. But here, I'm going to cover probably the most notable stories in it, the ones that everyone was really excited for. The first story in the book is titled For the City That Has Everything, and it was written and drawn by Dan Jurgens. Dan Jurgens, of course, being famous for the whole Death of Superman arc and also for the most recent run on Action Comics. And this story feels like the perfect bookend for his run. The story is that Metropolis is holding a Thank You Superman festival, and Superman was asked to attend, but at the same time he's trying to take care of this alien invasion that's happening. We get to see Superman's heroics from the point of view of those he saves, from those who are in Metropolis and working there every day and interacting with them. We also get to see a lot of how the Justice League feels about Superman and their feelings about him and their appreciation for him. It's a good birthday card kind of story for Superman, and like I said, it's a good way to end Dan Jurgens' run on the comic. The next notable story is called An Enemy Within, and it's one of the lost stories that they advertised by Curt Swan. Now, Curt Swan, of course, is one of the most important creators in Superman's history, creating stories such as For the Man Who Has Everything. And he really defined how Superman works and how he looks and what his stories really mean in a lot of ways. And this lost story that they found and they finished, you can tell that it was unfinished and it was supposed to be part of something a lot bigger. The art is fine, but you kind of get the sense that it is calling out to something and there's not quite a response for it. That said, Mark Wolfman, he finished the story. He added some more dialogue, he added some more background information through the use of captions and such, and his effort is heroic in completing this incomplete story and at least giving it out to the public, at least giving us another thing to look at. So my personal favorites from the book, though, are the 2 short stories, The Car by Geoff Johns and Richard Donner, and The Fifth Season by Scott Snyder. So The Car is about that smashed car and its owner, Butch, from the cover of the first Action Comics. Now, the story, it fits perfectly into the setup that was put into Action Comics #1. It's a really great sequel, and they did a good job with it. My favorite part, though, is that the symbolism that Geoff Johns input into the car itself and how it represents Butch's life and how he can either junk it or he can rebuild it and fix it up is brilliant. It's so good. There's a reason why Geoff Johns is the creative director at DC. And I have to admit, a big part of why I love the 5th season was because of Scott Snyder. He's so far my favorite comic creator, and I've wanted him to work on Superman for the last 5 years after he finished his run on Superman Unchained. But I do have to say that every single word that Scott Snyder writes is important to the plot, and he doesn't waste any space at all in the pages that he was given. And now I just want him to write Superman even more. Now, the book up to that point, most of the book, kind of rides off of the idea that Superman is a symbol and it's inspiring and it's hopeful, and it does a really good job. It works. It works really well, and it's a great tribute to Superman. And then we get to one of the bigger draws of the book, which was Brian Michael Bendis taking on the Superman title. And they gave him Jim Lee to work with on this one. Now, this story, in one word, is cinematic. And it is definitely worthy of the title of the book, Action Comics. It is so action-packed, and my eye covered the action really well. Like, it was easy to follow, and it was so fun. A new alien threat has come to rid Earth of the Kryptonian plague. It's already knocked Supergirl out into orbit, and now it's up to Superman to stop him. Superman is pinned. The alien stands over him, claims to have killed Krypton, takes up the sword, and he's about to drop the sword. It's coming down, and tune in to Brian Michael Bendis' mini-series, The Man of Steel, out May 30th, coming out every week for 6 weeks. Overall, Action Comics 1000 is a fun read, and it's a worthy celebration of the character. It was hopeful, it was inspiring, and it made me really excited for Bendis to take over the title. And I'm excited to see what he comes up with in his reboot of the Man of Steel miniseries. The only real problem I have with this book, I didn't notice until I finished reading it. Now, I get it. Krypton is a show based on the Superman property, so it is related. But, I mean, this was the first comic to reach 1,000 issues, and that's it. That's kind of a big deal, and I feel like putting an ad on the back cover is a little tacky. I feel like this comic is probably going to outlive the show. Other than that, and that's like a really small issue, that doesn't really matter in the long run. But what does is that this book is fantastic. And if you haven't picked it up, I definitely believe that you should. Either go get it digitally or go to your comic shop and pick one up. I'm a big supporter of going to your local comic book shop and buying it there. You know, support the whole local business kind of thing. And we're losing comic shops left and right, so. And if you have already picked it up, then here's some other books that kind of came to my mind as I was reading that I think would be a good continuation for you guys if you really like this. So, what did you think of Action Comics 1000? Did you like it? What mini-story was your favorite? Let's talk about it in the comments down below. And again, on my website, I have also reviewed each individual short story. And again, that link will be in the description, so go ahead and check that out. Thank you for joining me. And remember to always be your best self.